Hello everyone, this is Don Milne. I'm making this video to give everyone a broad introduction to our Arlington National Cemetery World War II Fallen projects. So our mission for Arlington National Cemetery has a theme of no more unknown soldiers. We already have one unknown soldier memorial at Arlington, and we think that's enough. It's great to have that there, but we don't need to have a bunch of gravestones basically being unknown soldiers because people don't know their people's stories. Our goal is to write the stories of all 7,700 World War II fallen buried at Arlington National Cemetery. So in order to do that, we're going to need some help. I estimate we're going to need about 300 volunteers, and it's going to go on for 21 weeks. We're hoping that people can average one story a week. If people can do more, that's much appreciated. If they end up doing less, that's okay too. Every name is one closer to getting them done. Basically, those people that have been doing this have gotten back to us and let us know that to research and write stories, it can be done on average in 2 or 3 hours. And we're saving them this time to either Together We Served or Fold 3. For Pearl Harbor, we were only doing Together We Served, but for this project, we'll give people the option of saving on Together We Served or Fold 3. And our goal is to have these completed by Memorial Day of 2022. This is the biggest project to date. We started off with a pilot in Utah where we did all the names from Utah, and we did 2,100 names. And then we had a project that we started in January of 2021 and lasted through early June where we did all the names from D-Day. And then we had a project that started in July and went through December, and there we had Pearl Harbor was the focus for that project. And in those projects we had between 100 and 125 people helping us on average. So for Arlington, you'll notice the total is basically as many as we had for the first 3 projects combined. So that's a lot of names to do. And that's why we need about 300 people helping us with this project. We're going to divide it up into 17 operations. And so to do that, we've divided the cemetery into 17 areas. The first area has the fewest names with less than 100. The last area will probably have more than 1,000 names. We've divided them up by code names. The ones I've listed here towards the top, we've already started filling out the database for those. Watchtower, Land Crab, Torch, Galvanic, and the list we started with included people who did not serve in World War II. It included spouses, it included children, it included veterans who had already completed their service in the military but happened to die during the World War II years. And so that's why you see the start count and the final count changes. So section 25, the torch operation, went from 339 to 41. So our ANC database volunteers are now working on Husky and Forager, and we have some individuals on their own are working on Shingle and Cobra. You can see from this column here that says start count that we're starting with smaller numbers, and then as we get farther down the road, the numbers get bigger and bigger until when we get to the final section 12, the number of names we start with is 2,600, but it'll probably be less than that because of the number of people that are spouses, children, or not from World War II. Here's a little bit bigger map that you can see, and so color coded, and then I've got letters assigned. So Watchtower is the first area that we're working on. Quite a few different sections, but there's not a lot of people from World War II buried in these sections, so I just combined them into one operation. The second operation, calling Land Crab, this is in the northern part of the cemetery, and these sections here, again, not a lot of World War II fallen buried here, so I combined those. The third one is C, Torch. That's just this one section right here. I picked just one section for that. D was another section, and so forth as we go through the D's right here, number 10. E's over here, it's one section. So as we're getting farther down to get larger groups, oftentimes it's just going to be one or maybe a couple of sections combined. So that's our goal. By starting with the smallest, maybe we won't get enough help to get all the way through by our target date of Memorial Day 2022. But we're hoping to get through as many of these as possible. And it's always good to be able to say entire sections of the cemetery are done. And if we have to continue on a little bit later because these larger sections aren't finished, we'll still be able to report a majority, real estate-wise, of Arlington will have been completed for our project. This is what we're going to need help with. The basic thing we need help with is story writers. And if you want to volunteer to help write stories, you're going to want to let me know the number of stories you think you can do per week, whether you want to save them to Fold 3 or Together We Serve, and also let me know if you have an area of interest. So for instance, maybe you're super interested in Navy names or Army Air Forces names or Marines, or maybe you want to focus on stories from Texas. If you have an area of interest, we'll try to get you names specifically for what you're interested in, or maybe that's where your expertise is from. So that's the main thing we need help with, but there's also other things people can help. Section directors. We've divided the cemetery into 17 sections, and we have 6 people so far that have volunteered to be section directors. And so they'll have to loop after they've been a section director and we've rotated through all 6. They'll have to go on to the next one if they still want to do that. But we'd like to spread this work around so that more people can help and have an opportunity to kind of lead an effort for an entire section of Arlington. So if you're wanting to do something like that, contact me and get you more details. Another thing we're doing is called photo enhancing. The other thing we need help with is what we call first story reviewers. So we have many people that are joining us and they haven't written a story before. So we have some people who have more familiar because they've been with us for months or a year or more. And they volunteered to read someone's first story to give them tips on maybe you could have done this a bit better, or don't forget to include this. It's just nice to have that extra help when you're just starting out. We'd also really like it if there's some people that can be what we're calling Together We Serve editors. There's some people that for various reasons don't know how to use Together We Serve, but they're really good at writing stories. So if we can team some of those people up with some people who have kind of got a handle on how Together We Serve works, then they can get you a Word doc with the story, and then you can edit that document, that story, into a Together We Serve profile. And the last thing we're going to need some help with is database crew. We have more than 24 people that are helping us with that, and they're just taking 2 to 3 minutes to start out with just a name and just basic information we got from Arlington National Cemetery, and they're looking on 2 or 3 internet sites like Find a Grave or Billion Graves and trying to fill out some of the basic information like what state they're from or their service number, their rank, stuff like that we don't have right to start with. So those are the different things that we need help with. So I want to talk a little bit about being a photo enhancer. So what this involves is one of our partners, MyHeritage, has this capability on their website to take a photo like what you see here. And it's kind of blurry. Some of the features aren't as clear. And you run it through their photo enhancer and it looks like the picture here on the right. So the left side kind of blurry, the right side is a little clearer. Gives a nicer presentation. So you don't have to have a MyHeritage membership. We can get you access if you want to help with that. And if you were to help with this part of the project, what would happen is someone who's doing research comes across a photo. It looks like it could be improved. They send it to you, and then you fix it so it looks nicer, which is basically upload it, push the button to enhance, and then you save it and email it back. So if you want to be a photo enhancer, let me know. So one of the key reasons that we're doing this project is we want people visiting Arlington National Cemetery to have an entirely new experience when visiting the grave sites of the World War II fallen. Our partners, Fold 3, which is a sister company of Find a Grave, and also Together We Served, both have smartphone apps. The Find a Grave app links to a Fold 3 story, so you can go to any name, hopefully by Memorial Day of 2022, all the names we've worked with, go to Find a Grave and pull up that story on the phone with the Find a Grave app. Also, the same with Together We Served. They have a little bit different look, so that's why we have two different apps that we're using, and it'll just be what someone's preference is on how they want the story to appear. There'll be more details later about how the apps are a little bit different, and the current versions of apps probably aren't the final version. They both have room to expand and have more features, but by Memorial Day, people will be able to use these smartphone apps. So any stories you have written, anybody visiting Arlington Cemetery for decades to come, when they visit that grave, if they're interested, they'll be able to read your story, which will be awesome for an extra way to remember that fallen hero. Our goal really is no more unknown soldiers at Arlington National Cemetery, and I invite you to join us on this project. So the next step is, if you want to be a story writer, pick how many stories you would like to do each week on average. Choose whether you want to save them on Together We Serve or Fold 3. Either one is an option. And then let me know if you have a focus on an area of interest. If you want to do like Army Air Force's names, tell me that. Or you want to do names from Oklahoma, let me know that. Then we'll have some notes that I can pass on to our section directors, that they'll know how many stories to assign each week and know where you're saving the stories. And also, if they come across names that are in your area of interest, they can pass those on to you. And if you're also interested in some of these other things you need help with, section directors, photo enhancers, first story reviewers, Together We Served editors, database crew, any of those things, just email me and I'll get back to you with more instructions.